Welcome, wrestling fans. Welcome to Curtain Jerkin. As always, I'm your host, Jacob Grondy, reporting for the Main Event Marks YouTube channel and my Spotify. I'm also on Apple Music, so if you prefer Apple Music, you can check me out on there. But for some reason, I promote my Spotify. I like Spotify. I listen to Spotify. I don't have anything saved to Apple Music. When you want to listen to like my music playlists, they're up on there at the Red Oak Brew Through is my name on Spotify when I'm just making playlists. And then also, of course, Curtain Jerkin, type it in. And that's, what I use to make wrestling podcasts. Hopefully you know that if you're listening to this right now. I did a few mistakes last time. I said that Volkanovski won the UFC fight. I think I just wanted him to win so bad, but Islam won, took him down in his hometown. I didn't talk about Christian Cage coming back and fucking up Jungle Boy shit with some mace. But we'll get into that. We'll get into, everything. We're going to talk about Pro Wrestling Noah, New Japan, AEW, so much AEW. We're diving in right now. I just watched Dynamite from this week, but talking about Rampage that we didn't talk about, special NBA All-Star Weekend edition, started at 7 o'clock, destroyed the number. It was like 200,000 people watched. Like, more people were at the Tokyo Dome watching Mutoh's last match than watched freaking Rampage, it seemed. The Guns promo, I hate that the Acclaim don't have the titles, but these guys are cutting good promos. They look obnoxious with the titles, which is kind of the point. They've been cutting good promos for about, several years now, even during the pandemic, standing on the front row, cheering and everything. They did their thing. This is a true AEW success story, the Guns, and I'm here for it. But let's have this title reign short-lived. Let's put it back on the Acclaimed. Yuta and Cassidy challenging one another for the titles. I forget which title they challenged each other for. The match was great, but this was like the battle of which title means less. But going into AEW Dynamite, my overall thoughts before we have every single match ranked from worst to first. Absolute Ricky Starks with the open challenge. Peter Avalon trying to answer it was hilarious before Jericho cuts him off with the Judas effects and accepts the challenge. I guess for Revolution, Jericho and Starks, you can always tell when there's an AEW pay-per-view coming up because there's a lot of talking segments. And I didn't mind it because I thought the talking segments were good, just like this Jericho-Starks one was good. Christian Cage and Jungle Boy, not really a talking segment, but they brawled on the top of the ramp. You got the Wardlow versus Samoa Joe vignettes. Wardlow was pissed, and I don't blame him. Don't you ever cut off a GQ Chad's man bun. Samoa Joe, you were wrong for that one. I know you're one of my favorites of all time, but I hope you get your ass beat for that. Cutting off the GQ Chad's man bun like that was fucked up. Another thing that was fucked up was kind of the thing that MJF was talking about, kind of making fun of Danielson's kid, making fun of the fact that Danielson probably has, CTE or something like that. I mean, generally rude statements from MJF. That's why he got his ass attacked by Danielson. Big pull apart. I enjoyed it. Jamie Hayter promo. It was good, but the crowd was cheering for the Lucha Bros coming out for the tag battle royal, kind of interrupting her promo. She's kind of being held back. She's being held back by still being aligned with Britt Baker, and with her being in line with Britt Baker, it's kind of pulling down everybody because this rivalry here, this like 5-person rivalry where it's like, Saraya and Tony Storm on one side, and they're like the cool tweener bad guys versus the other cool tweener bad guys and Hayter and Britt. And then you got Ruby Soho, who's like the anti-hero, and they're all just a hodgepodge of bullshit. It's bullshit. The 4 other women in this feud need to just be taking L's to Jamie Hayter and playing off the fact that you made a star out of nothing. Everyone just cheered for her, and then she got over. I mean, yeah, it's ridiculous. Tony Khan's big announcement turned into Adam Cole's big announcement. He's going to be back. I'm excited for that. I'm not excited about this other show. I feel like this other show is going to kind of showcase some behind-the-scenes stuff to an audience, to the TNT audience, TBS audience that, most of them don't like wrestling. Most of them don't know much about wrestling, so they might see little tidbits there and kind of, it's kind of like... a magician doesn't show his tricks, but even if he did, it would be to someone who kind of respects the fact that he's a magician in the first place, where this show might kind of just showcase some of the magician's tricks to an audience who just wants to watch an NBA game or watch a sitcom from the 90s, and then they're like, oh, see, look, it's fake. I just saw a little tidbit there. It might ruin the whole thing for everybody. I don't know, man. I'm not trying to be Jim Cornette here, but I'm not too big of a fan of it. Plus, I mean, if you look at Rampage numbers are, not looking too good right now anyways. So you don't want to add another show. But if we're going to rank every single match from worst to first from Rampage and from Dynamite, we're going to have to start with the worst match. I think there was 9 matches on either show. Jade versus Val Vixen. Jade doing push-ups, hitting the Jaded 1, 2, 3. Number 8, Lee Moriarty and Big Bill versus the Acclaimed. The Acclaimed are fucking over still. Why don't we see more Big Bill? I think he could get over too. The Guns show up. Caster hits an elbow, 1, 2, 3. Saraya and Sky Blue. This was a dream match for Sky Blue growing up watching Saraya. This was a mid-card match for the rest of the world. I'm not complaining. I love seeing these ladies, but, I mean, we're going to have to figure out something to do with this feud. Ruby Soho comes out after the rest of them come out for some reason. She wants a title. This is bullshit. They haven't known what to do with the Red Hot Champion and Jamie Hayter for like 8 months, and they didn't know what to do with Thunder Rosa when she was a champion for like 6 months. So it's like over a year, the women's title has just had nothing to do, and they brought in, 4 or 5 girls to kind of hold the title and do something with it, but just nothing ever came of any of that stuff. And now they have 5 women in tweener roles, and it's like the whole division is a tweener. Shades of Grey. I mean, I'm not into it. I was into this Battle Royal sitting at number 6. I'm just going to go over the highlights here. Aussie Open on Dynamite just to be in a Battle Royal. Mark Briscoe chasing Josh Woods away. Butcher and Blade eliminating Aussie Open. Hopefully that's a feud. Rouge is pretty sick. And then it kind of comes down to the final 6. Trent, Dante, Phoenix versus Butcher, Jared, and Lethal. Dante, Butcher, and Phoenix get eliminated. Trent throwing out Jeff and Jay, but Singh hilariously enough saving them. He's just a giant man who can just put his hand behind the guy's back and push them up. And then at one point, like holding Jarrett like a baby, putting him back in the ring. Jeff Jarrett wins for his team, so now we have, Jarrett and Lethal joining the Guns versus the Acclaimed here. I think they're setting up this match pretty nicely to just have the Acclaim look strong and win the titles back. I mean, fingers crossed. I don't want to jinx them. Number 5, Mox versus Evil Uno. Biggest Evil Uno match of his career. Uno coming out during the commercial break. That's got to suck. Hitting a senton off the top to the floor. Mox busts him open. Bulldog choke. Rear naked choke. He gets choked. Gushes blood. This was a crazy scene here. Looked like, a match from the Mid-Atlantic here when they were, like, they kind of had a camera angle that was shooting above the ring. Just blood all over the gray canvas. But Mox didn't let go. Silver and Reynolds ran in to make the save, and that caused Claudio and Yuta to make the save. And that caused Hangman to come out and make the save for the save, hitting Moxley with a fist of barbed wire, getting ready for this Texas death match at Revolution. Revolution's stat card. Ricky Starks and Jericho, sign me up. Mox and Hangman, sign me up. MJF and Danielson, sign me up. The Elite versus House of Black, sign me up. I mean, I'm excited for, whatever the hell they're doing with the women's division. Make it quick. I don't know. But moving on, we got Garcia versus Jericho at Rampage. Hot off the blocks, Ricky Starks. Garcia goes after the leg. Starks at one point collapses from the pain from the leg. That was a nice little touch there. Action Andretti chases Guevara off. Spear, 1, 2, 3. Ricky Starks gets the victory. Number 3, Top Flight and AR Fox versus the Elite. This was a great match. Dante gets roped into winning the tip-off for the All-Star game, but then falls right down onto the knee of Nick Jackson. Low blow to kick things off. I thought that was pretty funny. Bucks waiting a long time to get dived on. I kind of think that kind of ruined the spot a little bit. Dante hits a missile dropkick while throwing a basketball at Omega. That was pretty funny. 450 from Fox. 1-2 Swanton from Nick. Just all kinds of spots here. Fox gets super kicked out of the sky. 1 winged angel. 1, 2, 3. The Elite get the victory. And that's when we see House of Black show up. And then they cut a really good promo on Dynamite here. You don't really have to do too much about this. The crowd knows that this match is going to be killer, and you just kind of set it up with just, lights go out, lights come back on. House of Black is standing looking at the Elite. Lights go off. No House of Black. Cut the promo. We know what to do. Cheer like fucking crazy. Number 2, Dustin Rhodes versus Swerve. This match was great. Parker Bordeaux at ringside. Trench nowhere to be seen. Back rake brawler Dustin Rhodes. Dustin busted open. Swerve trying to wear down Dustin. Dustin kicks out at 1. Code red. 1, 2. Swerve kicks out. DVD. 1, 2. Dustin kicks out. Superplex pile driver. 1, 2. Swerve kicks out. Crossroads. 1, 2. Parker Bordeaux pulls Rhodes off of him onto the floor like a damn bitch. DQ'd. Security gets worked by Parker Bordeaux. And then the Performance Center powerhouse, Keith Lee. Music hits. He comes out. Silver Fox. Silverback destroying everybody. He kills it. Love seeing this guy. We need more big guys in AEW. Big Bill, Keith Lee. I want to see more of them. They didn't really do a good job kind of hyping up Keith Lee's return on Dynamite. Like, there's a lot to go over, but I mean, a little video package of, the Texas-born Keith Lee re-debuting in Texas to save another Texan. Where's the recap? Let's see it, man. Come on. I feel like more and more Rampage is kind of like shifting over to being an island of itself, where Dynamite is the popular show. You need to tie them together. You need to make it seem like the reason to watch Dynamite like kind of spills over to the reason to watch Rampage. But it seems more and more it's like Rampage is an afterthought, and also there's not a lot of storylines that you see on Rampage also play out on Dynamite and vice versa. Number 1, though, best match on AEW this week, Cassidy versus Yuta. This match had no right to be this good. I just watched WWE Elimination Chamber, thought that was great. Just watched the Tokyo Dome matches, and this match held up to all those matches. Yuta gets rolled up in his own signature roll-up. 1, 2. Yuta kicks out. Claudio comes out there and just bitch slaps Yuta, cracked me up, fired him up. Yuta kind of turns into a jerk, throwing Cassidy into the announcer's table. Claudio leaves like his job is done. Yuta stays on Cassidy. No man can put the other man away. Spitting at each other at one point. Orange punch, 1, 2, no. Crowd on their feet. Breach break, 1, 2, no. Orange punch again, 1, 2, 3. Cassidy wins. So now I guess the Transatlantic Championship is slightly above the Pure title, which I think is bullshit. The Pure title is a really cool title that kind of has its own like personality to it. It's special rules for pure matches, where there's a lot of titles like the TNT title, the ROH TV title, the Transatlantic title, just to name a few on this show that all kind of seem like the same thing. So I think, if you elevate the Pure Rules title, you kind of elevate a whole division that can wrestle a certain style that's separated from all the other things and all the other styles, in my opinion. But that's not what they're doing here. They're obviously just burying the title. They're burying ROH. No one's going to watch ROH. No one watches Rampage. Very few people watch Dark and Elevation. And then they're bringing another show to all this shit. So, yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing for sure. I love AEW, but I think there's a little bit too much of it. But who's kidding who? I can never get enough pro wrestling, and there's so much pro wrestling out there that I get to cherry pick what I want to watch. And what I wanted to watch over the weekend since we last spoke was WWE Elimination Chamber, Women's Chamber. As soon as the participants were announced for this match, we knew that there was only one clear winner, and this was Asuka. We had Asuka, Raquel, Carmella, Nikki Cross, Natty, and Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan impressed me in this match. They put her over throughout the year in big matches against Ronda, and I think she lived up to that hype. And here she did, that cool, what was it, sunset flip off the pod thing. It was cool to see Natty get that hometown pop from, about a country away. She's from the West Coast. But in Canada, you just get cheered if you're from Canada. So it would be literally if someone was from Idaho getting that hometown pop in Memphis, Tennessee. But I love it. I'm all for the hometown pops, especially if it's ridiculous hometown pops. That sunset flip, like I already talked about, was pretty cool. Dwindles down to Carmella tapping out to the Asuka lock. And, we all knew it, but it was cool to see, telegraphed from a mile away, Asuka versus Bianca at Mania. And then we got Brock versus Bobby. Surprised to see this match go on second until I saw the outcome. I love the super heavyweight division in WWE. Germans from Brock, spears by Lashley, 1-2, no, spear, F5, 1-2, no, F5 again, 1-2, Bobby won't quit, spear, hurt lock, counters with a low blow, Brock gets DQ'd, real dick move there, Brock. So I think it's going to be a Mania match, but I don't know, because, Bray called out the winner, and we don't know the winner, and we have Almost versus Brock on Raw next week. So it looks like they're kind of going the Hurt Lock direction. Maybe, we get the most star-studded Andre the Giant Battle Royal ever. I actually think it's going to be a rematch versus Bobby and Brock, and then hopefully we get this spooky stuff with Almost and Bray. I feel like Almost can do maybe the spooky stuff better than anyone else. Bray kind of is like a black hole for, getting over at Mania. And Almost is kind of needs a push from someone, needs something to do. So maybe the Giant can be spooked. Maybe the Giant can play scared for a while, run around with MVP like it's a horror movie or something leading into Mania. I don't know. It might be good. We'll see, but I do think that even though we've seen it before, Bobby versus Brock at Mania is still the best outcome in this grouping here. But we had Balor and Rhea Ripley with Dominic versus Edge and Beth Phoenix, just like how I love the super heavyweight division in the WWE. I love the mixed tag division that kind of shows up on big shows in the WWE. They should bring back that mixed tag tournament they did a few years ago, especially with these four. That would be cool. Crowd chanting, "Fuck you, Dominic." PG era is done because Dominic is getting heat. Superplex from Balor. Beth versus Rhea. Locking horns. That was cool to see. Awesome little part of the match. Beth and Edge, Edge hits his execution. And then Beth hits a move to Balor, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while since I've seen the show. 1, 2, 3. The Grit couple get the victory. Fun match. Not a match of the year candidate, but that's not what it was trying to be. Then we had the men's chamber. I love the idea that the chamber was for the U.S. title. You got to make the mid-card titles mean something, because if the mid-card titles mean something, then the journey means something, and then the people that feel attached to the wrestlers, they get to see the rise. They get to see like these like little checkpoints. But if everyone's just passing around these mid-card titles like, they're props, then it kind of all goes to the wayside. It only really matters if someone wins the world title. But if someone wins like the U.S. title, like Austin Theory, it means something here. And they can tie that into him wrestling John Cena at WrestleMania, which it looks like is going to happen. And John Cena's first major title was the U.S. title when he beat Big Show for that at WrestleMania 20 or 21, if I'm not mistaken. So it all, ties together there very nicely. The other mid-card title, Gunther has, with a nice, Intercontinental title reign, a nice long reign. That's going to mean something as someone takes that from him. But going back to the U.S. title match in the WWE Chamber, Austin Theory versus Montez Ford versus Bronson Reed versus Damian Priest versus Rollins versus Gargano. I'm really tired of seeing him on Raw. Rollins and Gargano start things off. He's a good wrestler, don't get me wrong, but they got to do something with him. Give him a little oomph or something. I really wanted Bronson to show off in this match and show out, and he kind of did to an extent. Montez Ford really showed out, though, with that wild monkey bars flipping cross body to everybody off the top of the cage. It comes down to Rollins and Austin. Ford hurt, so the door opens to kind of get Ford out. Logan Paul takes advantage of it, runs out, attacks Seth Rollins. So no one really goes over here. Austin wins the title in like a chicken shit way. But then you have Rollins versus Logan Paul. The celebrity match at this year's WrestleMania could also be the Steamboat Savage match at this year's WrestleMania. That would be crazy, unprecedented. Of course, Logan Paul threw out Rollins at the Rumble and then attacks him at the Elimination Chamber. So, it's just right there. You got the big plot points. Let's see the fucking match. But we can't talk about the WWE Elimination Chamber without talking about Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn, the match that we all tuned in to see. This was awesome. This is one of my matches of the year. All because of the storyline. It wasn't a technical masterpiece, but just the storyline made it. This is kind of the reason you watch wrestling, to see people be this over. This was the reason, we all tuned in. This was the reason that Montreal bought tickets. CM Punk Money in the Bank level reaction from Sami Zayn coming out. Before the music hits, they're hitting the Olay chants. Music hits, they fucking explode. Bell rings, crowd goes nuts. Sami dives, crowd gets hyped. Roman slowly controls the pace. Roman just talking tons of shit to Sami's wife. Sami fires back. Sami stays on him. Sunset flip, 1-2. Roman kicks out, counters the Superman punch with a haluva kick. I love the haluva kick because it sounds like you're saying a hell of a kick. Roman answers with the Superman punch, 1-2. Sami kicks out, exploded from Sami. Sami goes for a Superman punch, lands it, hello kick, 1-2. No, Roman counters the dive through, Roman counters like the dive that Sami hits when he dives through the turnbuckle to hit the DDT. It's a spot he's been doing for years. Even in the Indies when he was El Generico, he would do the spot. It was countered this time by Roman Reigns. Roman goes for a spear, ends up going through the barricade. Ref down. Sami gets a pin. Crowd counts to 10. They're just counting for themselves at that point. They're trying to convince themselves that Sami Zayn just won the title. The wrestling gods don't want to give it to Sammy. It seems like they're sitting there just counting. This was crazy to hear. Sammy, had won the title like 4 times over in Montreal's mind here. Jimmy Uso comes out, and Roman wants him to attack Sammy. He doesn't. New ref, 1-2. Sammy kicks out. Spear, 1-2. Sammy kicks out. New ref down. Both men down. Chair. Jay comes out and gets involved. Roman wants Jay to use the chair. Roman turns his back to Jay. Not as big of a gasp as we got at Royal Rumble, but a little bit of a gasp. Sammy on his feet. Spear. Roman ducks. Sammy hits Jay with the spear. Chair shot like the 99 Rumble from Rock to Mankind to Sami Zayn. Ref is up 1, 2, 3. Roman retains. KO has seen enough. Of course, he gets the hometown love. He's from Canada. Every Canadian's hometown is Canada. Kevin Owens comes out, takes out Jimmy, stunner to Roman, stunner to Jimmy, haluva kick, hell of a kick to Roman. Sammy didn't win the battle, but he stands tall as the battle goes off the air, which means a lot in pro wrestling. Amazing match. Amazing show. Best show of the weekend. Best show of the week. I'll say it. It was better than New Japan Pro Wrestling, Battle in the Valley, or the Great Muta's last match, or Keiji Muta's last match. But that isn't going to stop me from ranking both shows' matches. All 19 matches are ranked here. That's right. I'm blending the two shows because I wanted to see how like a mid-level New Japan show in America holds up to a Tokyo Dome show. I just thought that it would be a fun little thing to do to rank these matches like this. I'm not familiar with a lot of these wrestlers that are on some of these shows, but we're diving in. The worst match, the 19th best match, I should say. Yoshihiro Agawa, Ida and Hayate and Chris Ridgway and Daga versus Atsushi, Yohei, Yoshiaka. Pretty much, I'll just say it. It was a Noah 8-man in a sea of multi-man tag matches that were usually interpromotional tag matches. So the cool part of a lot of these tag matches were gone with this one, and it was kind of in the middle of the card. So that's why I ranked it last. But it's not really last. It's like there's like a grouping. I would say like these next 5 are all kind of last, or like, tied for like the 14th best. Number 18, Segura, Kojima, Timothy Thatcher versus Jake Lee, Jack Morris, and Anthony Green. So I thought like Jake Lee, hot free agent. Jack Morris just got off of that main event match with Kiyomiya in Noah. So I thought that they could maybe have done a little more with these guys. Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe this match should have been ranked 19th and not 18th. I thought they could do a little more with these guys, especially having like Kojima, Timothy Thatcher, Anthony Green. They star-studded here. They really didn't do much with them, and they could have maybe had like a Jake Lee versus Kojima match or something like that. But number 17, the 8-man tag, the match that kicked off Battle in the Valley, the first Battle in the Valley match on this list: Kushida, DKC, Valador Jr., and Kevin Knight versus Josh Alexander, Masquerade Dorada, Adrian Quest, and Rocky Romero. So a lot of great wrestlers out here. And, just at the end of the day, Knight pins Quest. So, like, the two least known wrestlers, one pins the other. So, okay, kind of boring there. But going on to number 16, Mao. Shuma Katasmuda. I'm going to butcher these names here. Unio, Kojima versus Indo, Okani, Takada, and Masada. Not familiar with a lot of these guys. This is the DDT 8-man tag. I don't watch DDT. Forgive me for butchering those names. But, I mean, for people that know a little bit less about DDT than I do, I know that DDT, Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi, to a lesser extent, Sami Zayn, all cut their teeth in this promotion. So it's cool to see what this promotion has to offer. But after that, I really didn't have much to sink my teeth into. It was a multi-man tag on a sea of multi-man tags on the show. Number 15, Masaki Tamita and Inaba versus Inamura and Yoshiaka Yano. So this is the GHC tag title match, but this is the curtain jerker for the evening. Yano, 23 years old here, wrestled 2 years before wrestling in front of a crowd that could cheer because of the pandemic. 23 years old, wrestling in the Tokyo Dome. That was kind of what was cool to me about this match and why I ranked it higher than the other multi-man tag matches. Or just, the tag matches on the Tokyo Dome show. And then we have the Tokyo Joshi Pro match on the card, the only women's match on the Tokyo Dome card. I'm not going to say the names. Watanabe is awesome. She was out there. Big swing to Sakazaki, one of my favorites in Tokyo Joshi Pro, and slams 2 women at the same damn time. Sakazaki, my favorite in Tokyo Joshi Pro, hits a 450 for the 1-2-3. And then we had 13, Shun Skywalker, Kia Diamante, not that Diamante, not the female Hispanic Diamante that wrestles on AEW sometimes, but another Diamante, versus Marufuji legend, El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr., and Ninja Mac from GCW. What a team here. Those 3 people teaming up is why this is ranked as high as it is. It was cool to see an interpromotional warfare. Because Shun Skywalker, Kia, and Diamante, they're from Dragon Gate, so they had All Japan, Noah, Dragon Gate, Tokyo Joshi Pro, All Japan Pro Wrestling, and New Japan Pro Wrestling on one show for everyone to pay respects for Mutoh, like one of the best to ever do it. It was really cool to see, and it was really cool to see Ninja Mac in this environment. I mean, you've been watching him during the pandemic era of GCW wrestle in front of like 100 people doing crazy shit in the Ukrainian Culture Center, and now here he is in the Tokyo Dome. Number 12, Gedo and Taiji Ishimori versus Nasawa Rangai and Mizada. This was a short match. I could not even, kind of rate it that high, but I had to kind of put it in the middle here because this was Nasawa Rangai's last match. Of course, Gedo had to be in there. The booker had to put him in the tag match. This could have been a spot for LP or someone like that. A junior tag wrestler in the ranks of New Japan. But Nasawa Rangai, a legend in himself. I guess, you don't want to overshadow Muta, and I don't think you're going to overshadow Muta on a show like this. Nasawa Rangai, I remember a guy at a bar tried to gatekeep me from love of pro wrestling because I was kind of unfamiliar with Nasawa Rangai. I knew who he was, especially when he showed me a picture of him. I was like, oh yeah, I know who that guy is. He wrestles in Japan, Indies, Noah, blah, blah, blah. And he was super mad that I didn't know who Nasawa Rangai is. And usually when something like that happens, I boo that wrestler. I don't like someone trying to gatekeep me from wrestling. But the point of me telling this story is he won me over. I looked past that man at the bar a few years ago, and I've since then enjoyed his wrestling, his brawling style. Ishimori pinned him quick, and then Rangai said something to Ishimori that I looked like brought Ishimori to tears, really moved him. And then, the golf clap as he was leaving, I was like, fuck, we just got a surprise retirement for me. I didn't know he was retiring on this show. Man, that's crazy to see. I guess, if you're gonna wrestle in the dome and you're near your end, you might as well just retire, because you ain't gonna be on a bigger stage than that to say goodbye to the wrestling world. But as you know, there's two big shows that I'm ranking every match from worst to first, and Rosser versus Kenta is on this, list at number 11. Fred Rosser wanted to brawl. Kenta obliged him. Weak ass kick to send Rosser back over the rail. Crowd behind Kenta, even though he was kind of being a dick this whole time. Kenta hits a drop kick in the corner, playing the hits here. Goes for the GTS, but gets caught in a chicken wing. That was a cool spot. Kenta can hit the GTS. Juice Robinson comes out and cheats for him. Juice Robinson, a guy who left New Japan for AEW, and he's showed up on AEW, but he still shows up more in New Japan, even though he left New Japan, because they come over to the States so much. Then Kenta hits the GTS, 1, 2, 3. Kenta now is the champion of New Japan Strong, even though New Japan Strong isn't really a show anymore. So this title, it might be more useless than the ROH Pure title on an AEW show. Time will tell. We'll find out. Number 10, though. Homicide versus Tom Lawler. I like these guys. The no ropes aspect to this hardcore match was cool, but I'm tired of the plunder matches. I don't know if GCW just took it out of me. I kind of stopped watching GCW because of that. And then here, two guys that I typically enjoy having a match like this. That's why it's ranked at number 10. Number 9, the West Coast Wrecking Crew versus the Motor City Machine Guns. Love the West Coast Wrecking Crew. I really want to see these guys in the World Tag League this year, but they didn't have enough to beat the legends in the Motor City Machine Gun. All three of those last matches are on the Battle of the Valley show. So is the 8th match. So pretty much the matches that were bad on the Tokyo Dome show, or the matches that weren't really noteworthy, were these multi-man tag matches. But then the body of the Battle in the Valley show is a lot better than the body of the Tokyo Dome show. But the Tokyo Dome show, when it peaked, it fucking peaked. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Clark Connors was in the Battle of the Valley show. This is more confusing than I thought it would be. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it. This is for the TV title match, and much like the Pure title, which is something that I like about titles that make them distinct, is having its own set of rules. So the Pure title has the Pure rules. You can grab the ropes 3 times. You get one closed fist. The ref, catches you closed fist. You can't throw another closed fist. Little things like that. Well, this television title has 15-minute time limit. It's a new title they just brought to New Japan, so it's distinct. I like it. Connors is great proof that the LA Dojo is working for New Japan. Both guys working snug, huge chop, snug kick. Connor hits a Monty Brown pounce at one point. 4 minutes left, building suspension to the mid-card title here. Spear, power slam. Connor's in control. 1 minute left. Fujiwara armbar locked in from Zack Sabre Jr. Connors taps out. Knight, the guy who got the pin in the beginning of the show, challenges Zack Sabre Jr. as he's walking to the back. I know I just said all this stuff about multi-man tag matches, but this multi-man tag match was pretty good. It's ranked number 7 in this list. Kento Miyahara, Suwama, and Yumi Agore versus Keno, Nakajima, and Manabu Soya. So Congo, the faction known as Congo, led by Keno with Nakajima and another wrestler of note in Noah, versus 3 guys from All Japan. I know who these guys are. I haven't seen them wrestle that much, but this match was awesome. The interpromotional thing was really cool. Kento Miyahara, one of the few people of note to leave Noah and go to All Japan. And of course, very famously, Noah had that big jump of everyone who left All Japan to start Noah with Masawa like over 2 decades ago at this point. But apparently there's some tension here. I know that you guys the people that know this story are laughing at me, but this is the first time I saw this. Nakajima and Miyahara. Miyahara just lost the All Japan Pro Wrestling World title like this weekend, over the weekend. And here he is wrestling this match. And apparently him and Nakajima used to team up. I didn't know about this, but there was just a vibe in the dome where you didn't really have to know the history. You just knew these two motherfuckers didn't like each other. Keno gets the 1, 2, 3. But after the match, there's a stare down. Miyahara and Nakajima. I want more of this shit. I think Miyahara has this charisma that's usually only seen in like American, like past their prime indie talent. He kind of has this vibe of like, you know, like the Carlitos of the world. He has this vibe of like the Chris Masters, the JTGs of the world. When you go see these former WWE guys wrestle and they just have this charisma, this way about him, he's got this charisma. He's got this confidence. He's got a little bit of a belly to it. Probably helps with the vibe of being an old veteran. But he's great. I love this guy. Apparently he had a match with Yuji Nagata over the weekend to lose the All Japan title. John Pollock talked well about it. I'm doing this thing where I'm ranking every single match. I'm not ranking every single match, but building my top 5 each month in the year 2023. I'm going to have to go out of my way to watch that match to see if it's on the February list, because it seems like it might be. I'm also going to have to go out of my way to watch the Wesley Donovan Dijak match, because it seems like that match might make the list. Any other match recommendations, let me know in the comments below. But right now, I'm moving on. I'm moving on to number 6 on this list. Okada versus Tanahashi. No teeth. Tanahashi has teeth now. 336th time that these guys have been opponents. Main event of Battle in the Valley. High fly flow to the floor. Back in the ring, Okada takes advantage. Rainmaker poach, Tanahashi takes advantage. High fly flow, Okada with his knees up. Dropkick, Rainmaker, 1, 2, 3. It was Okada, it was Tanahashi. There's definitely a feeling in the air whenever they do that, especially in America now. This is the second time in America. First time on the West Coast and everything. So first time for a lot of these fans here in LA or in San Jose. But it wasn't as good. It was no Wrestle Kingdom 9. It was no Wrestle Kingdom 8. But number 5, Hiromu Takahashi versus Amakusa. The GHC Junior Champion versus the IWGP Junior Champion. Amakusa, seen him a few times, been around since 2005, came out of the Kai and Tai Dojo. Hiromu has the craziest ring jacket ever, so I'm hyped for this match. Amasuka dives to the floor, dives again, hits a 450, 1, 2, no. Hiromu cuts him off, tries to control the pace. I had no clue about their past in England, but they're flashing masks at each other because they used to be a team in England. I had no clue about this. I was trying to read more about who Amasuka was, but I really, I was just tied into the match. Every time I looked down on my phone that had Cage Match, they were doing something cool in the ring. But they did some touring in England, and they were teaming, and now they're pissed at each other because they both have the titles. That's all you need to know. Crazy looking time bomb, 1, 2, kick out. Another time bomb, 1, 2, 3. Hiromu Takahashi gets the victory here. New Japan looks strong as fuck here. First of all, they were only in the last 4 matches, and they won all the 4. They won them all. Number 4, going back to Battle in the Valley. Mercedes Moné versus Kairi. Sasha had her own Nitro Girls for her entrance, coming out, paying homage to Hama Kimura. She's doing a lot of lucha stuff here, and that's kind of cool because anyone who listens to Keep It 100 knows that Conan said that she was training with a lot of lucha, during her time off. Kairi hits a dive in the corner. That was pretty snug. Mercedes sets up a table at the 15-minute mark. big table bump. Back in the ring, Kairi had like a sort of shitty cloverleaf applied. I feel like if the cloverleaf wasn't so shitty, this would have been ranked a little higher. It was still ranked number 4, but it was effective. Sasha was hurt. Monet was hurt. Monet able to counter into a crossface. Spinning back fist from Kairi. 1-2, no. She's getting frustrated. Monet fires back. 1-2, no. Now she's getting frustrated. Monet ends up winning with a frog splash into her new crazy move. I don't even know like what it's even called. I don't even know how, if you were on defense in a real fight or however you would explain it, how you would get in this predicament to have this move applied to you. I don't know if I like it. 1, 2, 3. Monet gets the victory. She holds the IWGP Women's title. So the second ever Women's Champion is Sasha Banks or Mercedes Moné. Number 3. A match that was in the middle of the card on Battle in the Valley, but I think the best match at Battle of the Valley, Eddie Kingston versus Jay White. Jay White already lost a loser leave Japan match. Now he's going up and losing a loser leaves New Japan match. A company who had trained him and built him up. He was in the Young Boy system, shot up like a rocket, and now here he is, years later, after everyone left AEW, he stayed. He was the guy. And, 3 years later, now he's leaving. I hope he goes to WWE. Deadlift German from White. Locked in. Pretty sick. Lariat. 1-2. Kingston kicks out. 1-2. Kingston kicks out again. Chop battle. Half and half. German. Low blow behind the ref's back. Blade Runner connects, but Kingston rolls out the ring. This part got me. Boom. Like, he hit it. We're going to still see him in New Japan. I was hooked. But they get him back in. Spinning back fist connects when they are back in the ring. 1-2. Jay kicks out. Backbreaker. 1-2. No. Another backbreaker. 1, 2, 3. Kingston pins Jay White. Jay White is no more in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Kingston, moved here, kind of not crying, but definitely saying show Jay White. Jay White finally gets that respect from the fans that he just always wanted. And then David Finlay, Fit Finlay's son, attacks him with a goddamn shillelagh. These two were young lions together. These two came up in the same system together. Second generation wrestler, finally, coming to his own here by attacking one of his own. We will see what happens here. He says he's a man of his own. He's not in any faction right now. We'll see if he joins a faction. But man, that was brutal. That got me. I kind of just started watching New Japan in 2014 when these guys were young lions. So to see this story play out was really cool. I mean, it's like a 9-year-old story that just happened in San Jose, California. Just the fact that New Japan was in San Jose, California, and these guys are the names who they are. Back when I started watching, that would be crazy to talk about. But it was number 3 on the list. It didn't get ranked higher than number 2 on the list, which was champion versus champion. We've been talking about it for weeks here. Kaito Kiyomiya and Kazuchika Okada, the IWGP champion versus the GHC champion. Okada just looks fucking cool. Coming out in that fucking robe. He's like the coolest dude ever. And plus, he just wrestled Tanahashi, his all-time rival, in San Jose. Gets on a plane, flies over his second Tokyo Dome of the year, and just looks like $1 million fucking bucks. Makes it rain, wrestling this chump, this kid who thinks he's on his level because he holds the GHC title. And that's I'm not saying this about the man. I'm just saying that that's kind of the vibe that Okada puts off. Goes outside early, DDT, 1-2, no. Flying elbow from Okada. Kiyomiya throwing the Rainmaker into guardrails. Senton over the rail. That was pretty cool. Flying knee from Kiyomiya. A lot of this stuff happened. A lot of this match was outside. Outside the ring. Dropkick. Tombstone from Okada. Rainmaker. Blocked. Big knee. Goes after the arm. Shining Wizard. 1-2. Okada kicks out. Okada thinks he's in control. Shining Wizard again. 1-2. Okada kicks out. Crowd is fucking loud at this point. Okada lands a Michinoku driver. 1-2. Okada picks up Kiyomiya's head. Picks up the GHC champion's head. I thought this was... He kind of just punked the whole company. Punked Noah out by picking up the head here. On a Noah show. Crowd boos. Rainmaker. 1-2-3. Okada gets the victory. Beats the GHC champion as the IWGP champion. It was fucking cool. As an Okada mark, I was into it. I don't know why you would allow this if you were Noah to have your champion look this bad. Especially, you could have just had, this show was stacked. You could have just had a Noah title and an IWGP title defended, but I guess they had to make this card, live up to Muta's last match, what you would think Muta's last match would live up to. So they had to have a title versus title. They had to make this whole card mean something. They had to have all the interpromotional matches on there to make it special, and it was special. And when Keiji Mutoh and Naito had their video package playing, it felt special. I had someone text me today, and they called it their My Way video from WrestleMania back in the day, but it wasn't it wasn't My Way. Obviously, Limp Bizkit's My Way didn't play, but it was that big. It was that epic. Muta's entrance going back to the 80s, then going into the NWO, and then playing like today's theme, Muta chants. Bell rings. Naito takes his sweet-ass time, as he always does, taking that suit off, getting into his tights. Naito then goes after the leg, the obvious weakness of Muta's game. Battle on the ramp. Naito does the big run down the ramp, just like the famous spot where Muta does the running down the ramp in his match with Hogan in the Dome. Naito goes for the figure four. Muta reverses it. Enziguri. Naito goes back to controlling the pace. Muta gets the upper hand for a little bit. Both men down. Emerald Fusion. Flosion. 1-2. Naito kicks out. Muta goes for the moonsault. Stays on the top turnbuckle a little too long. Thinks better of it. Gets down. Muta, of course, known for the moonsault in the 80s. Does the moonsault throughout the 90s. Has had several knee surgeries since. His knees are pretty much shot to shit. If he does a moonsault, it could be the last thing he does with those knees, and he knows it. But if he does it, he could get the fucking victory. He knows that too. So he's standing on the turnbuckle in the Tokyo Dome. Like, what the fuck do I do? But he's up there a little too long. Naito gets the upper hand and goes after the leg again. Another figure four. Shining Wizard from Muta. Another one. 3 Shining Wizards in a row. 1-2. Naito kicks out. At that point, Muta hit him with his best shot. He goes up again to the turnbuckle. Overthinks it. Now Naito bleeding, but like not down the way Muta wants it. Maybe if he hit the moonsault, he would have got the victory. We never will know. Shining Wizard 1-2. Naito kicks out. Destino 1-2-3. Naito beats Muta. I mean, shit, man. What a victory lap in your career this last year has been for Muta. I mean, it literally is better than Kobe's last season. He teams with Sting, his a rival that he had in fucking WCW in like 1989 and shit, 1991. He puts over Nakamura, a guy who is wrestling in WWE, puts over Naito, a guy that's, huge in New Japan, while he's wrestling in Noah. And he kind of said it, man. He did Emerald Fusion in this match because Misawa, the guy who started Noah, a legend in wrestling, didn't get to have a last match. Masahiro Chono didn't get to have a last match until this motherfucker gets the mic. Masahiro Chono, him and Muta were in the Japanese NWO together. They came over to America together. They were, legends at the same time. He calls him out. He calls the guy out, the guy who's walking in with a cane, tells the legendary referee to get in there, Tiger Tori, And then they ring the bell here. This is like a makeshift match, like Cena and The Undertaker, WrestleMania 33, or 34 rather. And Chono and Muta have a fucking quick little match. Chono taps out Muta in the STF. So Chono gets to have a last match, along with Muta having a last match. And it's just two, like, legends / good friends / old timers just living it up, having the time of their lives. So no one was crying, no one was upset. Muta just, got the crowd hyped one more time and helped his friend out. It was just a really cool moment for just to see. I've been watching these guys wrestle for forever. If anyone doesn't know who Masahiro Chono is, I mean, he was in WCW versus NWO Revenge. That makes sense to a lot of people. So he was, he's been over for a long, long time, and he had to retire for injuries. Muta probably should have retired from injuries, but had this amazing last run, and now we all get to have these memories forever. God damn, do I love pro wrestling. I would say some of the best stories told in the ring in the last 10 years we saw this week with Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns, and also the Muta getting on the turnbuckle but thinking better of it, and Naito taking advantage of it. Pro wrestling is fucking awesome. Fly high. I'm out.